You're live.
Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you tonight? This is Uncle Bruce coming to you, talking to you about the webinar for tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the food that we love, that we should not love, okay? The junk food, all of the fast food, the food that doesn't have much nutritional value, but we like it because it tastes so good. Because the scientists put a lot of research into making us think that we should eat this food. So here we are talking about these things, and we have a guest tonight. Her name is Elaine, and Elaine is going to bring us through all this information, tell us everything we need to know about fast food and junk food. So here we are. So Elaine, go ahead and take the show, if you don't mind.
Hi, Bruce. Hi, Leo. And good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my slides. And tonight, we're going to talk about how fast foods can affect your body. First, just a little bit about me. So I'm Elaine Velasques, and I'm a certified transformational nutrition coach. And I combine functional nutrition with NLP and mindset work to help men and women overcome stress eating and self-sabotage so they can gain power over their food choices. And through my personalized coaching methods, I've helped my clients lose weight, eliminate...
There's a little static in one of our microphones.
Let me know if it's mine.
It stopped.
It's gone now? Yeah. All right. So through my personalized coaching methods, I've helped my clients lose weight, eliminate cravings and food obsession, reduce anxiety, and increase their energy so they can look and feel their best. And after transforming my own health by breaking free from sugar addiction, anxiety eating, chronic fatigue, mood swings, and sleep problems, I address nutrition, mindset, and lifestyle to help my clients create a luscious, healthy life on their terms.
Wow, I need that.
You can learn. Yes. So you can learn more on my website here. And this is a quick disclaimer to say that the information shared during this webinar is not intended to replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional, and it is not intended as medical advice. So I encourage you to make your own healthcare decisions based upon your research and in partnership with a qualified healthcare professional. So this is important, guys, every time we're talking about health and nutrition. So I don't intend to give you any prescription of anything. I just want to share with you the information that I have here. Okay, so let's get started, and we're going to talk about how can fast foods affect your body.
I'm hungry. Look at all that good food.
All right, so the information that I'm going to share, first off, as a health coach, I always like to share that ignorance is not a blessing. So the information that I'm sharing here is not to make you start to look at food and feel scary about food or feel anxious about what you're eating, or every time you're going to eat a fast food, you're going to feel guilty or anything like that. None of that. So it's just to bring you knowledge so you can make better choices. Okay. So knowledge is power. And then from there, sometimes we're suffering from, headaches, or we have stomach aches, or we have chronic inflammation, and we're dealing with maybe even a more serious disease, and we don't know where that's coming from. And that's basically linked to what you're eating, and you don't know that. So this is just to give you power and so you can make better choices. All right, so what are fast foods in the first place? Also known as, Bruce likes to call it junk foods. So fast foods are highly processed, mass-produced foods, food-like substances prepared quickly, grilled, fried, or you can microwave it. And it's associated with high caloric intake and poor nutrient density. Basically, the famous empty calories. Fast foods fast food restaurants follow very specific preparation methods to make sure you get a flavorful meal or a snack in the least amount of time. And the history of fast food dates back almost a century, but America's most well-known fast food eateries took off during the 40s and the 50s. That's
McDonald's.
Yes, exactly. That's when McDonald's. Exactly. And then today, it is a staple of the American culture. And of course, everything that happens in America has a great power of influencing other countries and other cultures, such as Brazil. And financial resources, low prices, time, and availability influence fast food consumption. So because it's easier to, you don't have to cook, it's cheap, and you can get it anytime, that encourages people to consume more fast foods. And 1 in 3 Americans eat fast foods every single day. And this is the study. Yes, this is the study that was showing that. And it's really not a coincidence. Like this fact, it is not a coincidence that also Americans, like America is dealing with a lot of obesity, and it has higher rates of obesity and chronic diseases, inflammation, and etc. So it is something to think about. And let's get visual now. So just so you know, what are fast foods.
Wow. Woo.
Yeah. So you can't miss it. Like
that's like 3 burgers on top of each other there, huh? 3 burgers.
Yes. And I know people who can eat those 3 burgers. I was listening to a podcast recently, and a guy was saying that he ate 36 slices of pizza. Can you believe that?
Yeah, but they were little baby slices.
Yes, no, but he was saying like just a regular slice, not
like the one we see in the picture here, huh?
Probably, yes.
Yeesh.
So how can you eat so many of these foods and not get satiated? That's what we're gonna learn today.
Who's in this picture here? Who's in this?
That's
picture?
me. So this is me when I was 22 and I was living in the United States, and I gained pretty much 25 pounds in the first 6 months. And of course, I was eating cheesecake for the first time. There was no such, at least for me, like there was no such thing here in Brazil. This was back in 2006 when there wasn't even a Starbucks in Brazil. So things like cookies and cheesecakes, they were not familiar here at all.
Wow, cheesecake
now
is
you know
so
why.
good.
Yes, this is an Oreo cheesecake, Bruce.
Wow.
Yep.
I miss cheesecake. They do have cheesecake now in Brazil. They do now.
Yeah, they do. Yes, and you can find they're not always good, but you can find some good ones here. Yeah. All right. So, okay, Elena. So, if fast foods are cheap, flavorful, and easy to get, what's the problem? Right?
Yeah. Tell us what's the problem.
Wouldn't we be in paradise if we could eat this, limitless and right?
Yes.
Because, avoid all the dishes.
That's a bad part. That's a bad part of my life is eating and not eating correctly. I do have a problem with this. So that's why I really wanted to watch and see what's going on with your discussion here.
Yeah, and you and a lot of people, Bruce, just so you know, so just a lot of people dealing with that. I was one of them once. All right, so what's the problem? So of course, I could have brought so much information here, but then of course, time is limited, and then I'm gonna go through 5 things that I think are, the most relevant in terms of, consumption of fast foods. So number 1 is excess simple carbohydrates, sugars, fats, and salt can make you sick. So this is basically, what fast foods are composed of, So fast foods are basically empty calories. They're basically a lot of carbohydrates, sugar, fats, and salt. And you can create a nutrient deficiency in your body if you're consuming a lot of fast foods, because you're basically eating a lot of calories, but you don't have the nutrients. And it can also increase, excess sugar, carbs, basically when I say carbs, I'm meaning flour, simple flour, and then like processed flours, and then it can increase inflammation in the body. And then, and that's basically flour, sugars, and things like high fructose corn syrup, which is a cheaper version of sugarcane. This is basically from corn, and it is used in a lot of processed foods. And then another problem is that it is the inflammatory fat. So basically vegetable oils, things like soy, corn, canola, sunflower, they are in large quantities in processed foods, and this is a problem. Hormonal, and there is also a hormonal starvation, because when you're eating a lot of carbohydrates and these kinds of fats, and you're not eating a lot of protein, you're basically not signaling your satiating hormones to say, hey, I am full, I am satiated, I can stop eating now. So that's why it's so easy for one person to eat 36 slices of pizza. You're not, your body needs, when you eat real food, your body has the signals, and it's going to relate to your hormones, and it's going to say, okay, I had enough, that's enough. That doesn't happen with processed like fast food. So that's why it's so easy to eat the entire cake. What happened? Mm-hmm. All right. The other thing is that a lot of hormonal imbalances. So it promotes a lot of hormonal imbalances, things like excess insulin. And then excess insulin has been linked to pretty much almost all diseases that we have these days. So basically cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, polycystic ovarian, autoimmune disease, and so many other guys. So insulin, like if you're overstimulating this hormone called insulin, you're creating a lot of problems in your body. And when you eat processed fast foods, it's very easy to overly stimulate insulin. And the other problem, of course, to me, like this is the least one, but of course it is a big one. When we think about all the other problems and diseases that we can have when you're eating a lot of carbohydrates and sugars and fats, and it is excess body fat and weight. So that's also a problem. So number 2, you're creating you're going to have higher risks for cardiovascular diseases. And we are in a moment in the history where we are very concerned about our lives, and we're dealing with a pandemic now, and it's not the pandemic that's killing people the most. What kills people the most, according to the World Health Organization, is still cardiovascular diseases. So that means here stroke and heart disease and diabetes. We have diabetes here in the list. We have kidney diseases, but we have also things like thyroid issues, cancer, infertility, autoimmune diseases, fatty liver disease. So these are all problems that we're dealing with when we eat a lot of fast food. So you're increasing your chances for cardiovascular problems. And that's, what kills the most.
Okay.
Number 3 is gut issues. So when you're eating a lot of fast foods, you're creating gut. So you're basically fitting, your gut has trillions, your body has basically trillions of bacteria that is fed with everything that you eat and how you expose yourself to the environment. And then when you're eating a lot of fast foods, you're basically feeding bacteria that is only going to crave more of these fast foods. And you're not feeding the good ones, the ones that improves your immune system, for example. So one of the bad consequences of not taking care of your gut system is that you're going to lower your immune system, And that's not something that we want these days, right? Like we want to keep our immune system high. And also, you know, it creates a lot of fatigue. So you're going to have low energy when you're dealing with gut issues. You also have excess cravings. So you're not hungry, but you feel like eating something all the time, either like a fatty food or something salty or something sweet. So you're always craving food. The other thing is that our gut is also linked. So our gut health is linked to also our psychological health. So that means basically things like anxiety and depression is also linked to your gut health. And then you can also, and you can also have like mood swings because you have like neurotransmitter deficiency because you're not eating, for example, foods that promote the development of these neurotransmitters. And you're going to have imbalances of things like serotonin and dopamine. They're two neurotransmitters that makes you feel good. And then when you're always depending on foods like fast foods to get a dopamine high, but then you're going to crash, and then you're going to need, fast foods again, and then you're going to crash. You never give your body the chance to keep, and create your own, dopamine system. And you were designed to have dopamine. You were designed to have serotonin. But then when you're overeating these foods,
one thing, Elena, one thing that really catches my attention here is the gut issues. Is that the main time I know I have a problem is when I have diarrhea or a stomach ache. Okay,
yes,
that's when I know I have a problem with my gut. Okay, my stomach.
Yes.
But other than that, I never notice anything except that you say that the gut issues have effect on the parts of our mental facilities, right? The ability to feel good, to be good mentally. So I never had that connection with my gut. Wow.
Yes. And then we're going to get very visual here because this is from a journal. Yes. And then here you can see like what a healthy brain and gut looks like. And then what an inflamed brain and gut looks like. So here in the middle, you can see the connection. So there is the brain gut axis, which means that our brain is constantly connecting with our gut. So see these arrows here. And then things that influences our gut is like lifestyle, stress, drugs, and diet. Diet's a big one. So what happens in our gut is then when we eat a lot of fast foods or processed foods, foods that damages the gut barrier, we have these toxins releasing to your bloodstream. And then basically we increase, inflammatory cytokines, and then the immune system have to overly work. And then you have the disruption of the neurotransmitters, and then the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis is damaged. So we don't have so this communication does not work well. And then here, when you see a healthy brain and gut, so a healthy gut will not have this barrier impacted. So see, here you can see spaces. So you can see the space here, and here they're all together. So that's how you want it. So when you eat mostly healthy foods, your gut barrier will not be damaged. So you won't damage this connection and this communication between your brain and your gut. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm. For me, it does.
All right. So this is one of the most problematic, in my opinion, which is that fast foods, so basically excess flour, sugar, fat, and salt, can promote food addiction. And this is real. Food addiction is real. And that's why you don't know why you can't stop eating these things, even though your doctor already told you that, you're damaging your health. And then, if you continue this path, maybe you're going to have diabetes in 5 years, and then you don't know what's going on because you just can't stop eating them. Basically, because what's going on is that there's like a chemical issue. Like you're basically intoxicated with this chemical. So fast foods has a lot of not only flour, sugar, fat, and salt, but they also have a lot of chemicals. They have artificial flavorings. They have chemicals that are going to make you addicted to these things. And as Bruce was saying in the beginning of the presentation, the industry pays a lot of, they pay a lot of money, they invest a lot of money to have engineerly, perfect foods that are engineerly to have the perfect amount of salt and flour and sugar and fat, just so you can eat just one. Remember that potato chips that says like you can eat just one? That's why, you really can't. Once you put that chemical in your body, it's going to, explode a sensation in your brain. And it's really, really hard to eat just one. And then you create this dopamine addiction, which is like artificial dopamine that you need just to feel like yourself again, because now you can't, it's like every single day you feel like eating these foods. And this is not sometimes, most of the time, and then you start to blame yourself, like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just eat healthier? Or why can't I just quit these foods, or even, eat them in moderation and everything? And it's basically that you're intoxicating your body, as I was saying. So it's not a moral issue. It's more of a chemical issue in your body and in your brain. And if you're wondering if you're addicted, I challenge you to stay 14 days, do a 14-day fast food fast. So you're not going to eat fast foods for 14 days. That means no cookies, no flour, no sugar, no fat, none of that coming from artificial sources. And then see how you feel. If you feel like crap, maybe you are addicted to them. And I love this quote from Julia Ross. She wrote a lot extensively about food addiction. So this is a quote from her book, The Craving Cure. So she says that techno carbs, so she calls processed carbohydrates that invaded, our diets these days, techno carbs. So techno carbs are actually just narcotics dressed up in skirts, adorably packaged and sublime tasting. These substances are designed to pass as foods, but they have much more in common with hard drugs. Actually, your favorite goodies are more potent than heroin and cocaine combined.
And it's legal.
And it is legal, and it's free, and it's like you're even encouraged to eat them, right?
Yes.
So finally here, I just want to say that your best self needs the best fuel. So you really are what you eat. So if you want to have high energy and focus, if you want to have a vibrant health, if you want to have vitality, if you want to feel present with your family and your friends and have quality time, you really need to give your body the best fuel. And you need nutrients. Your body is made of cells and tissues, and your cells are made of mitochondria. And these things, your organs and everything in your body needs nutrient to function. You cannot survive on basically empty calories. So you really need good fuel to your machine.
Yeah, when I see this, I think about a race car and how a race car has special fuel to go and go fast. In a spaceship too, a rocket, and needs special fuel to go into the space, into the atmosphere, and out of the atmosphere. So all these machines need special fuels, and our body is no different.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And then, all right, so after everything I said about fast foods, can fast foods still help me improve my health? I really want you guys to think about that and maybe answer that. Put it in the chat. What do you think? After all these things that I shared, do you think fast foods can still help you improve your health? So I'm gonna answer that in the end. And do you guys have any questions?
What fast food can I eat?
Well, basically, we're gonna discuss this in the next block, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think about the consumption. Yeah, for sure. So about this first block, so maybe I just go ahead and go to so can I start the second block?
Yeah, if we don't have any questions right now.
Yeah, so I can see here in the chat, someone wrote, so Carmen wrote, maltodextrina is an example of what? So maltodextrina, I don't have the entire question, but maltodextrina is basically an example of sugar. Okay, so every time you see, so just so you know, the industry labeled sugar in like, I when I was studying, nutrition in my, the nutrition school, it was, we had a list of like basically more than 30 names of how, the industry can label sugar, not calling it sugar. And maltodextrin is one of them.
So it's basically just sugar.
Yes. So every time you see maltodextrin, and you know what's funny and what's interesting, a lot of times we see foods that are going to label it sugar-free. And then when you see, they have maltodextrin added with some sort of artificial sweetener. There's
a question here. It says, Elena, what do you think of turmeric?
I think turmeric, curcuma is amazing. I think it is amazing. And it is one of the ways that you can use to balance your diet, because your diet is not going to be made of only healthy foods. So you can add curcuma. So for example, if you ate fast food last night, today, so the following morning, you can make a shot of curcuma with some lemon and then drink that. And it's going to help, you balance the inflammation from the food you ate. So as long as you're keeping like homeostasis in your body, which basically means like you inflame a little bit and then you give some anti-inflammatories here and there, and then you keep this balance going on, and then you don't have problems. But it is our natural anti-inflammatory, the anti-inflammatory that nature gave us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So how can we eat? What should we eat? So before we get started, I just want to say that there is no such thing as good or bad in nutrition, at least in my opinion. There's no such a thing as is this a good food or a bad food? Or, there's no such a thing. There is always, like, everything in nutrition needs a context. All right. So what's your current health situation, or what's your personal preferences, or what's your budget, and what's your accessibility to these foods? So everything needs to be put in a context to be either good or bad, or positive or negative. There's no such thing as good or bad. All right, so this is the information that I want to share with you, because I want you to encourage you to make your own choices, right? Like you don't need to think like I think. You don't need to do whatever people on Instagram is doing. I want you to give you the facts and encourage you to choose for yourself, to think for yourself and see what's best for you based on your own current health situation. So, all right, so here's how I would do it, all right? So if you're eating fast foods and other highly processed foods, I'd say 95% of your diet should be minimally processed, all right? So as long as you're keeping most of what you're eating real food, like things like that does not come from a package. So maybe you should keep your fridge full, not your cabinet, okay? So you don't want to open a lot of packages, or you don't want to go out and eat fast foods all the time. So most of the time, I would eat, 95% a non-processed or minimally processed diet. And then when it comes to your 5%, which is basically fast foods or highly processed foods or even alcohol, I'd say eat whatever you want. There's no reason for you to go to the Diet Coke just because, if you know what you're doing 95%, your body can handle 5% or even a little more than that here and there. What your body cannot handle is you're doing that, even like 50% of the time you're eating fast foods and 50% of the time you're eating, healthy foods. That's not gonna work. Unfortunately, as I said, like your body is made of things, tissues and cells and everything that needs nutrient. There's no way for you that you're gonna eat an empty calories that are highly inflammatory and it's gonna be okay. All right, so I cannot lie here. And So I'd say eat whatever you want. And in those 5%. And of course, frequency matters. If you're a healthy individual, I'd say if you eat fast foods once or twice a week, I'd say I would do that. Like, that's okay. Like, okay, I'm eating like mostly non-processed, healthy foods, freshy foods, curcuma, anti-inflammatory foods. That's all great. And then of course, yes, go ahead and have the cheesecake on the weekend, or on Wednesday, have the glass of wine, or,
Yes.
have the hamburger, with your family on the weekends. I'd say if you're healthy, you have no health issues, I'd say once or twice a week is fine. But if you have health issues, that really depends. I'd say once every 2 weeks, if your doctor is fine with that, once per month, and maybe sometimes you need to quit entirely until your health is restored. So it really depends on what we're talking about here. But basically, yeah, the frequency should be lower.
Well, that's an interesting statistic there. You're talking about percentage of 95% of good, solid food and only 5% of processed food. Because I know there's Weight Watchers, they do other calculations and give different recommendations. And you have many different diets that recommend this or that. So this is a pretty good idea of only 5% of the processed foods, like cookies or cake, cheesecake, ice cream, chocolate,
Yeah. Well, this is how I would do it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I gave you some facts about, about healthy foods, and anyone these days can go ahead and read a book or get your own information. This is how I would do it. And I don't think, if you go way higher than that, I don't think it's going to be good on the long term. Sometimes, and of course, as human beings, we love to think short term, we love the quick pleasure, but then, at some point, it's not going to be fun to, start to get some health issues and maybe go to the hospital all the time and maybe have, so we have to, at some point, be very realistic with ourselves and say, okay, what do I want for me, in the long term when it comes to my health? Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be your decisions. All right. So what can we do? Okay. So if 5% of the time I'm eating fast foods, that means that maybe we have some healthier swaps that we can eat basically every day and every week, because this is going to be real food. So for example, I have some examples here for you. And that's going to be, for example, you can, on a regular basis, like during the week with your family, you can swap, a regular bun or bread, that you would eat your hamburger for a macadamia bread that you can make at home, or even an oat brand bread that it's very easy to make, very simple ingredients if you don't want anything more elaborated. And you can find the recipe for this macadamia bread on my website. And, you can always Google, homemade bread. And then you can always find a bunch of recipes that would be so easy to make and so much healthier than, these industrialized foods that have a lot of bad oils and, simple flours that won't do anything for you. And these would be, swaps that you can eat on a daily basis. You can make your own diet, your healthy diet fun. And you can swap like regular mayonnaise that comes, with a lot of sugar and vegetable oils most of the time with, a homemade mayonnaise. And then in this case, I'm gonna recommend my dear friend Vanessa. She has an Instagram called Fit da Van, and you can go there. And she posted the recipe of it. So easy, so easy to make. Mayonnaise recipe, and you're gonna love it. It's so simple and so delicious, and this is something that you can put in as dressing in your salad every single day, because there is only food there. The other thing is that you can make.
I have a question about that recipe. Mm-hmm. You say it's simple. Do you make it regularly?
I do. Yes, I do.
I'm not the basic ingredients.
Basic ingredients, like things like I think she's using coconut oil, lemon juice basically, and then she gives you options, like if you want it red, you can put like some tomato sauce or something. If you want it green, I like it green, so you can put like some spices, like some parsley, things like that, and it's delicious. I'm not big on sauces on my salad, to be honest. I'm very simple with, you know, simple olive oil, salt, and that's it. But you know, this is really fun, and this is really tasty for those who really like something else.
Okay.
Something more.
Thank you.
And then, for example, instead of buying like a processed hamburger, you can make your own hamburger at home. All you need is ground beef, and you know, put some salt and maybe some spices, and that's it. You know, you make the patties, and that's it. You grill it.
What about fried burger?
Yeah, you can. I'd say usually if you're getting ground beef, there is enough fat in the beef to, like, you don't need to fry it. All you need to do is like maybe like just put it in the pan and then let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then you're gonna see like the fat is going to melt it, and so it's gonna be enough. Like there's really no need to fry it.
Okay.
And then things like, for example, French fries, you can always swap it for baked potatoes or baked carrots and beets with spices. So the key here, guys, is like you really add some spices, like things like you can drizzle some olive oil, and then you can add, for example, salt, and rosemary is my favorite. And then you can bake it. You can also add some cinnamon, and it tastes delicious. Like, you should really give it a try, because these are things that you can make your diet so much fun and so much, you know, so much flavorful. And then you know, it's something that you can eat basically every day. And you can also eat like processed, instead of eating processed potato chips or nachos, you can make your own sweet potato chips. And if you go to Vanessa's Instagram, you can find, like, she puts the recipe there, and here is the picture. Like, it looks delicious, it tastes delicious, and then you can have that with your guacamole. And these are real foods, you know, very easy and simple to make, that, you know, you can have it every day. And also, instead of having processed cookies, you can make, you know, your own cookies. And also Vanessa has a recipe there, but of course, you know, as I said, you can Google it, and you can make very easy cookies, you know, very simple to make cookies that you can, you know, have, you know, as a snack, mostly, you know, almost pretty much every day. And then this is
that idea.
Yeah, this is a bonus recipe that I really like, and I'm actually drinking it right now. So it's like I just made it here. So it's gonna look like this. Oh, maybe, I don't know if can you see it in the camera?
Yeah, we can see it.
Can you? Okay. All right. So this is basically, guys, a sparkling water, and then half lemon juice or lime juice, and then you put some. You get some a red fruit or a hibiscus tea bag. Okay, just like I have mine here. And of course, here you're not looking for the therapeutic, you know, nutritious aspect of the tea. You know, otherwise you would make it in hot water. You just want the flavor and the color, basically. And then you add stevia to taste, and then you can add some ice if you want to, and then just put everything together. And then, you know, the tea bag is gonna release like this beautiful color here, and then it's just delicious, and it tastes like pink lemonade. And I'm going to recommend here these two documentaries. They're very nice, they're fun to watch. So one of them is The Magic Pill. So it's going to talk a lot about the problems with eating a lot of, you know, processed foods and not eating. This one is basically the problems of not eating real food. And then this one, this is very fun to watch and funny also. He's going to explore a lot of, you know, the food industry, and he's gonna, it's very, you know, it's full of fun facts and everything. So on the top it says expect jaw-dropping revelations, and that's exactly what it is. So it's really fun to watch.
Are these on Amazon, or are they on Netflix? Do you know?
Yeah, this one, Super Size Me 2, is on. So Super Size Me, just so you guys know, he has Super Size Me 1. This is the Super Size Me 2. This is on Netflix, okay? This is the one that I'm recommending now. And the magic pill, it was on Netflix in the past. I think it's on YouTube these days or something, okay? All right, so what do you guys think? Can fast foods still help me improve my health after everything I said?
Well, 5% of the time.
But can it still, so the answer to this, and this is what I see my experience with my clients, and the answer to this is yes. If you try to cut all the fast foods that you love, or basically all the foods that you love that are not so healthy, that's going to make things very hard on you. You know, and I see in my practice that it makes transformation, it makes eating healthier harder. But the minute I have my clients here and then I'm encouraging them to make these healthier swaps, and then they start to eat healthier, they start, you know, they come with complaint with things like, oh, I don't have energy anymore, I can't sleep anymore, I'm not losing weight, and blah, blah, blah. And then the minute they start to see the results, of course, they're more encouraged to eat healthier. And then, of course, they're trying these foods and they're making delicious recipes, so they're eating better. But then just the fact when I tell them, okay, so then this week you can choose, you know, 2 of your favorite foods. It doesn't matter if it's processed or not, and go ahead. So the fact that they know that at some point, you know, the weekends with their friends or maybe with their families, they're going to be able to eat and enjoy whatever they want. It makes things so much easier. It makes like easier for them to follow like a healthier diet to make, you know, to get what they want. So maybe they come to me and say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to have more energy, or cravings are killing me, so I can't live with cravings anymore. So it's basically like they get what they want, but they still can enjoy their foods. So yes, so I do, in my opinion, I think fast foods can be part of a healthy diet and can also even help you improve your health, because you're going to be more motivated to eat healthier, knowing that at some point, yes, you're going to have your 5% and you're going to enjoy it guilty-free.
Okay.
And then, guys, I really think, and I firmly believe, that a healthy life must be luscious. So this is not about, as I said, not eating foods, eliminating everything that you love, or eating a boring diet, which you're basically eating mostly, you know, salads and greens and grilled chicken. It's really not about that. So once you get, you know, and you go step by step, you don't need to change everything, you know, at once. You can go, okay, this week, I'm going to try a new food that I never tried. And maybe this week, and maybe the second week, maybe I'm going to reduce my, you know, my fast food intake to maybe like 3 times a week, or maybe even if you're eating that 7 days a week, okay, 5 days a week would be progress. You know, just always look for progress. But you know, a healthy diet, a healthy life must be luscious. If you're not, so find your luscious, whatever that means for you. You know, find that, because otherwise it's not going to be sustainable. And that's it. Do you guys have questions?
Well, what about chocolate? Dark chocolate, they say, is good for us.
Yeah, so chocolate is like so chocolate, yes, but you have to be careful. Some people are very allergic to milk, and, you know, and so basically you're eating milk chocolate with, you know, even 70% dark. That's not going to be that good. And also even 70%, if you're dealing with sugar addiction or things like that, 70% can still have a lot of sugar. So I'd say, like, if you're eating chocolate, try to have it at least 70% dark. And, you know, if you're eating a lot of chocolate every day, even 70%, that it does have a lot of sugar, it's still, you know, maybe you're not getting all the benefits that you could, you know, from dark chocolate, because now you're creating a lot of inflammation because you're eating a lot of sugar. So basically, if you can get it a little darker, like, of course, and as I'm saying, like, everything is a progress. If you can only eat milk chocolate right now, maybe the next step is, you know, 60% dark, you know, even that. And as I said, like, in your 5%, you can eat your milk, you know, chocolate. I'd say, like, whatever, you know, whatever chocolate you want. But if you want to incorporate like a healthy treat, on your, like maybe almost like on a every other day, a dark chocolate, something like 70% dark or 85% dark would be ideal.
Elaine.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Elaine, Flavio Moreira is asking if exercise can reduce anxiety.
Yes, exercise is great to reduce anxiety. There's a lot of data out there. You know, the research is clear. Exercise is going to do a lot of good things for your brain, to reduce anxiety. People who has a tendency to have depression, that's also going to help. What exercise won't do is like help you to, you cannot exercise a bad diet. You know what I mean? So you cannot like, okay, this weekend, it's going to be like all about fast foods and I'm going to eat a lot of calories and chocolate and cheesecakes and hamburgers and blah, blah, blah. And then the day after, I'm going to try to exercise to compensate. That's not going to work, unfortunately. There is also like the research is also clear that exercise, when you want to keep a healthy weight, exercise is only 20% of keeping your normal and healthy weight. So exercise is going to do a lot for your cardiovascular system, for your brain health, to reduce anxiety. Yes, but when it comes to keeping a normal weight, exercise is going to be only 20% max. You know, diet is going to be 80%.
And it helps to lose weight, right?
It does. It can be part of, you know, the process of, yes.
Okay, and Luciana Pompeo is asking me your opinion about air fryer. You know air fryer?
I love the air fryer. I love the air fryer, Luciana. And the air fryer, for example, of the potatoes that I was sharing here. So you can bake carrots in the air fryer. You can bake sweet potatoes in the air fryer. It's just delicious. I put everything in the air fryer, and I love the air fryer because you don't have to wash a bunch of, you know, fryers or pan and everything. So you can basically put everything in the air fryer and have fun there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also asking if using air fryer, we are processing the food.
She's also asking if the air fryer is a healthy, I can see here, like kind of processing the food in a bad way. No, Luciana, as long as you don't burn it. So be careful. So the air fryer, you have to adjust the temperature so you don't burn the food. Okay, you guys, that you know that black thing in the food. So for example, you go to a restaurant and they bring you a hamburger that it's basically burnt. You know, you can see like that black part, or even French fries that are burnt. Those things are carcinogenic. Okay, you cannot just have them. You know, just tell them, hey, don't burn my food. Right? It's just like when you go to restaurants, tell them not to burn your food. So Luciana, as long as you're not burning your food, so you're using the good temperature in the air fryer, so just to get it crispy, but you don't need to burn it, you're not processing the food, not at all. Like you can bake potatoes and carrots and beets. It is also delicious. You can make your hamburgers there. It's just delicious.
Yeah, there's a guy named Reggie. He's asking if a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet would help us be healthier.
That is a complicated answer, but yes and no. Okay, yes and no. I'm not honestly, like I don't advocate for any specific diet, to be honest. You know, as I'm much more interested in inflammation, hormonal balance. So you can be vegan only eating bread and pasta, and you can be vegan or vegetarian eating a lot of healthy veggies, and you know, and balancing and getting your high quality protein from vegetables and other vegetable sources. So that are, you know, the right way and maybe not the so good way of doing things. So it really depends. You can be a vegan and a vegetarian and eat a lot of sugar and processed foods, a lot of processed vegan and vegetarian. So for example, when it comes to a hamburger, now we have this dream hamburger that is vegan and it tastes like meat And it's just a bunch of chemicals, basically, you know, combined with a little bit of food. I don't like that, to be honest. I'd much rather you have, so, and then on the other side, you can find restaurants that are going to make delicious beets, quinoa, mushroom, vegan hamburgers that are just delicious, and I love them. You know, I love them as much as I love meat, you know, just like your ground meat with some spices and all of that. So I think there are good ways and not so good ways of following any diet. So I have a post on my Instagram, and also I think I downloaded it on my website. I say, okay, how do I know that I'm following the right diet for me? Because as I said, like I don't raise, you know, a standard for any diet. Like I don't think any diet is better than another. So I basically share 5 things that you know that you're on the right diet for you. So basically one of them, are you hungry all the time or not? So basically what you're eating is satiating your hunger. So that's one thing. Are you craving food all the time? So if you are, maybe there's something in your diet that is not okay and needs to be watched. Number 3, do you have energy? You know, or are you crashing all the time? Are you fatigued all the time? So maybe, you know, if you're fatigued, there's something in your diet that's not working. Number 4, how are your labs? You know, how's your insulin? How's your cholesterol? How are your hormones? How's your thyroid? So I want to see all of that in your lab. So if those are also good, maybe you are on the right path. And then number 5, how is your body composition? You know, so maybe you're skinny, but there is this term that says that you're skinny fat. So you're skinny, you're on a normal weight, but you have a lot of body
I've
fat.
never heard skinny fat. That's a funny
Never
phrase.
heard? Okay. So I personally have a tendency to be skinny fat. So I don't have a tendency to gain a lot of weight, but I can gain easily a lot of body fat if I don't take care, if I don't exercise, if I don't eat well. So you can be skinny fat, and then there's a lot. So guys, inflammation and diseases like chronic diseases, they have nothing to do with, you know, if you're overweight. Yes, there is data showing that you're increasing your chances, but I know a lot of people that are on normal weight. I've seen a lot of people on normal weight that had like very serious diseases. So it's basically inflammation. You know, it's not your body weight that's going to dictate like how inflammation is running in your body. So you have to watch that when you want to find the right diet for you. Yes.
Okay. Renato Fraga is asking about fruit. What are your thoughts about it?
About my thoughts about what?
Fruits.
Oh, he was asking if it's good to have fruits with a stomach that's empty.
Okay, I love fruits, okay? I think fruits, guys, fruits are amazing, okay? Fruits are packed with nutrients, they're packed with water. So fruits on an empty stomach, okay. Again, like if that's working for you, and then you're feeling great, you're not hungry after 2 hours, you're not craving foods, you know, after, you know, in the afternoon, or your labs are okay, your body composition is fine, I wouldn't see a problem with fruits on an empty stomach if you're only eating fruits. But there's a lot of data suggesting that when you eat protein, like a protein-rich breakfast in the morning, you're going to promote a lot of benefits throughout your day. So things like less cravings, more energy. So, but basically, I think they were comparing to people that were basically starting the day, eating like a lot of processed foods, things like bread and maybe, I don't know, some fried stuff or anything. So bread is basically like empty calories, which is going to spike your insulin, or maybe some people are eating cereals. Cereals are also like loaded with sugar. So basically, if you're eating like a high protein, breakfast, for example, some eggs or some smoothie, and then you add some fruits. The research has been supporting that to have like less cravings throughout the day and more energy. But if you're eating fruits, and then of course, you can have a fruit, after your meal or even as a snack in the afternoon. I much rather you having a piece of fruit than a protein bar. Protein bars these days, guys, they're not only expensive, but they're basically candy. All right, they have like a lot of sugar or maybe a lot of carbohydrates. They don't have enough fiber. So basically, I'd rather you have, a fresh fruit, like natural fruit, other than having like a protein bar.
Okay. Real. We only have enough time for one more question, but Chris in Canada wanted to tell you hi. He misses you.
Hi, Chris. I miss you guys too. And I know Chris is, Chris, I know you are basically in heaven in Canada when it comes to going to the grocery store, because
he won't be in about 2 or 3 more months. He'll be fighting with a snowmobile in the snow.
But I mean, like the grocery stores in Canada, they have a lot of amazing things, and sometimes he sends me pictures. And it's fun to see,
do I eat this or this? Which one do I eat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question I think we have for today is somebody asked about the Atkins Diet. And I believe Atkins Diet is a lot of protein from meat.
Yes. Correct. So the Atkins Diet is basically you eat, a lot of protein, but you also eat a lot of fat, and you basically cut all the carbohydrates. I don't think that's sustainable. So that's, like any diet. So guys, one thing is that we need to stop thinking about the word diet as something restrictive, okay? A diet is whatever you're eating right now. Right now, each and every one of you is on a diet. I am on a diet. You are on a diet. Bruce is on a diet. So whatever is on your cabinet is your diet. So but what you're talking about here, you're doing a very restrictive diet when it comes to the variety that we have. When it comes to macronutrients, for example, so it completely eliminates one of the macronutrients, which is carbohydrates. So my question is, if you're doing that on a short term because maybe you have a very bad health problem right now, and then you need to lose weight fast, and then your doctor said it's okay for you, and then it's always, as I said, like it's always there is no right or wrong. It's always a context. Okay, so in that context, maybe the Atkins diet could be, after evaluating with a health professional, it could be a good option for you specifically on your own, health condition.
Yeah, maybe for a moment, huh?
For a moment, yeah. But then my question is always, okay, how sustainable is that for you to live, on this diet? Mm-hmm. So are you creating your luscious, healthy life on your terms on an Atkins diet? Maybe not.
Barbecue every day.
Yeah, maybe yes and maybe not.
Okay.
You let me know.
Okay. So I think we're getting ready to wrap it up for the day. Really appreciate you coming out today, Elaine, to talk about these questions about fast food and junk food, because it's something that's always been on my mind. It's like, can I eat this? Of course, I can eat something anytime I want, but is it good for me on a sustainable, schedule? No, I cannot do that every day. It's also a little bit expensive, and it could be much more expensive with bad health that is generated by the fast food or the junk food. So, okay, I see you have your information here. Guys, you can take a screenshot, and you can get in touch with Elaine if you have any further questions. And she is a professional that can help you with your diet, okay? Understanding the best foods for you and talking to you about exercising, and she can possibly help you out. Now, she lives in Sao Paulo, so you could actually go and meet with her at her office if you live in Sao Paulo. But she does a lot of things online, correct?
Yes, that's basically it. And then, guys, I'm starting my newsletter via WhatsApp. So if you want to join, just WhatsApp me on this number, and then just saying your name and last name, and I'll add you on my list, so you're going to receive, information from me, things related to health and nutrition and lifestyle and mindset and all of that. And this is not a group. Yeah, I'm not putting you in a group.
I asked that you guys interact with her, let her know the feedback from your perspective as to how you viewed the show today. Was it something beneficial? Is it something that might help you? Maybe she could help one of your family members that's struggling with some difficulties with eating patterns, or maybe losing weight or something like that. Elaine can help with that. That's why she has her education, is to help people in this area. So she'd be glad to help you. So great having you on the show today. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. And thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bruce. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.